my name is Kelly Waters and I'd like to welcome you to the Fat Key. And the Fat Key is for anybody who has an emotional eating issue, nighttime eating issue, binge eating, food addiction, yo-yo dieting and obesity. Now I'm going to tell you a bit about who I am, what makes me qualified professionally and personally to present you with the Fat Key, and about the books in the series and the membership site that we have to support the information around the book. So firstly, a little bit about myself and why I developed the Fat Key. Well, personally, I have suffered from childhood obesity from the age of 18 months old, then developed anorexia, bulimia, binge eating disorder, followed by emotional eating, yo-yo dieting. I don't know how many times. I have tried every diet under the sun, every self-help book to get me off that roller coaster. And then, of course, once you lose and gain weight, you then develop things like nighttime eating, and finally I became an obese adult and I developed food addiction. Now, I wasn't fully aware of what food addiction was, but when I felt trapped, when I felt like I had put myself in this jail and I didn't know how to get out, and I tried nearly everything. I've tried all the diets, as I said. I tried the self-help books. I'd even tried counselling, and nothing really worked. So one day, when I'd reached my heaviest weight, and when food was controlling me, and I just couldn't stop, I thought, there has to be another way. There has to be something else out there. And I started researching addiction, because that's what I felt. Like, what was the issue? I was addicted. And when I started researching addiction, then found food addiction, it was like this penny dropped, this light bulb went off, and my world opened up. And the more I researched it, the more I realised that not just where I was at this moment in my life was caused by food addiction, so was my anorexia, my bulimia, my binge eating, everything. I had answers for it. And so I developed the Fat Key for myself, to break my cycles of over 34 years of food and weight issues, being trapped by food and weight. And slowly, I changed. Day by day, week by week, I started to notice that my addiction was lessening. My cravings were lessening. I was actually gaining control over food for the first time in my life. And the byproduct of that was that I started to feel more confident in myself. I stopped beating myself up. I started talking to myself differently. And then, of course, the weight started to fall off with ease, like it never had before. I always had to try so hard for the weight to budge. I always had to restrict myself, deprive myself of food for the weight to fall off. For the first time in my life, I wasn't restricting myself, I wasn't depriving myself. I was just doing it slow and steady. And it took a good year. But within that year, I lost over 30 kilos. And the most important part, I lost my addiction. And I have now been in recovery for in excess of 2.5 years. And it is the most freeing feeling. And most of you who have these issues know what I mean. So then, after it worked for me, I then offered the same plan to my clients. Now you're probably thinking, well, I'm actually a psychologist, hypnotherapist and personal trainer. So I started offering the same plan to the people I was seeing, and it started working for them. And they were saying to me, well, you've got to tell other people about it. So that's what has ended up in you seeing this video and the other products. Because my clients told me that I had to reach out to a wider community, share my story, share the plan, and help others. And so, Food Addiction Therapy, The Simple Eating Plan, is the first book in the series. And this is based on some very, very simple psychological tools to help you to start changing some of your focus very, very simply. Because it's the rules that we have for ourselves that keep us trapped. So in 5 simple steps, I help you to change some of your psychology. Not all of it, because the second book is going to be based on the psychology of food addiction. But in this book, Food Addiction Therapy, The Simple Eating Plan, you will start to see some of the things that help me along my way and how I help others. And some of it is as simple as stop weighing. The scales keep us trapped. They sabotage us. So I help you to find other progress measures. Perfection. Again, another thing that we strive for constantly. And it's another thing that's keeping us trapped. So I have something called the 80-20 rule. That we strive for only 80% maximum that we try and achieve, giving us 20% left over for errors, mistakes, whatever it is, the unhealthy foods that we want to eat. And that's the important part, is that we get rid of some of these negative rules. Then the most important thing is understanding what the healthy guidelines are for balance, for normalising our eating. Because again, with so many diets out there, the confusion about what's normal eating is keeping us trapped. Like not eating fruit. That's a huge one. You know, all of these different things. Being scared of food, fearing food. No, it's about normalising, about balancing. And then the most important part is understanding your issues with food, understanding the addiction side of things. And I will say that I use addiction as a simplest term for what's underlying emotional eating, nighttime eating, binge eating, food addiction, yo-yo dieting, and of course obesity. And it's really how our brain works, our brain chemistry, our body chemistry, and the foods that we're eating and how it all interacts. And very, very simply, I show you, help you understand all of these things so that you can break free, and giving you healthy alternatives so that you can give your brain chemistry that little bit of a high that it needs in a healthy way, but it starts to normalise your brain chemistry and get you away from the highly addictive foods. And this is really, really important. And how to replace it slowly, gradually. And that's another thing that happens when we go on a diet, and particularly if we have these underlying food addiction issues, is that we go into a withdrawal phase if we put ourselves on a diet. And if we go into withdrawal, we're actually causing ourselves to go into a binge cycle. And every time we do that, it intensifies the link between withdrawal and binge. And most of you would have recognised that by now within yourselves, if you're not a full-blown food addict. And so what I teach you is how to stop those withdrawal binge cycles so that you can finally get rid of this issue forever and stop being controlled by food. Stop being controlled by your weight. your body image, and so that you can break free forever. You can become the master of these things. Love food, because, food is wonderful. We need to enjoy it. We need to love it. And that's the most important part that I help people with. This isn't a diet. This is about normalizing and balancing your brain chemistry, getting rid of disordered eating, getting rid of disordered patterns that are keeping you trapped in these cycles, so that finally you can break free. But it's about food addiction first, weight loss second. And that's what I need you to fully understand, is that you can't lose weight unless you get rid of your underlying addictions, unless you balance it, unless you normalise it. And then finally, you will no longer have this issue like I no longer have this issue. And in the series, as I said, this is the first one. The second one will be about the recipes. So in the second book, to go along with this one, will be all of the recipes you need to finally break free from your cycle. And then there's going to be the psychology of food addiction. And then a book just for families and children, because we're creating a generation of highly addicted people, and they're going to die before their parents a lot of the times because of the foods, and we don't want that. So that's why I want to help everyone finally break free like I have, and the more people I can reach, the better. And we're also developing a membership site to support the information for the Fat Key. And it will have a whole heap of information, audios, videos just like this, PowerPoint presentations, recipes, information to help you finally break free forever. And a supportive community of people just like you. So it's not just another weight loss membership site. It is a site designated to anyone who has an underlying food addiction, emotional eating issue, nighttime eating, binge eating, obesity, yo-yo dieting issue. This site is for you. And every month you get 2 seminars with me, so you can ask your questions, get some more information, and get the support that you need to finally help you live your life free from food and weight. Now, the book is available in print and via ebook. You can get it from www.thefatkey.com, and on there you will also see the information about the membership site. So I hope that this has provided you with some information about your issues, and also to help you to begin your journey to finally freeing yourself and getting off that roller coaster forever, or letting yourself out of your jail.